Hello class, welcome to the lesson of New Energy Vehicle Motor and Control System Maintenance. Today we are going to learn about the structure of a DC motor. First, let's take a look at the applications of DC motors. In modern industry, DC motors play an important role. They have good starting and speed control performance, which is incomparable to AC asynchronous motors. Therefore, the application of DC motors is quite extensive. DC motors are used in electric locomotives, indoor trams, and crane machinery, among others. Next, let's take a look at the components of a DC motor. A DC motor is mainly composed of two basic structural components, the stator and the rotor. The stator. The stator is the stationary part of the DC motor and consists of the main magnetic pole, commutating pole, motor base, and brushes, among others. The main role of the stator is to produce a magnetic field and provide mechanical support. 1. The composition of the main magnetic pole. The main magnetic pole consists of a main magnetic pole core and an excitation winding wrapped around the core. The main magnetic pole core is part of the motor's magnetic circuit. To reduce eddy current losses, it is usually made by laminating and riveting low-carbon steel plates with a thickness of 1 to 1.5 millimeters to form a solid unit. The role of the main magnetic pole is to establish the main magnetic field. The role of the main magnetic pole is to establish the main magnetic field. The commutating pole winding is made in the same way as the main pole winding, consisting of a core and a commutating pole winding. It is wrapped around the commutating pole core and located between the main magnetic poles. It is a relatively small magnetic pole that is ultimately fixed on the motor base. The commutating winding should be connected in series with the armature winding, and the polarity should not be reversed. It is not difficult to reverse the commutation of small DC motors, and typically commutation magnets are not required. The role of the commutating pole is to improve the commutation of the DC motor, so that no harmful sparks are generated during the operation of the DC motor. 3. The brush gear consists of brushes, brush holders, brush rods, and pressure springs, etc. The brush gears are usually made by pressing graphite powder and placed in brush boxes in the brush holders. The brushes are pressed onto the commutator by pressure springs. The brush holders are fixed on brush rods, and the current is conducted from the brushes to the brush rods through copper wire braids, and then connected to the terminals in the junction box through wires. The brush rods are usually made of insulating materials and fixed on the brush rod seat, forming an insulated assembly. The role of the brushes is to introduce DC voltage and current into the rotating commutator winding resistance and cooperate with the commutator to ensure timely commutation of the armature winding to generate a constant direction electromagnetic torque. The requirements for brushes. The brush should have good conductivity and wear resistance. 4. The motor base is generally made of cast steel or welded thick steel plates, which have good magnetic permeability and mechanical strength. The role of the motor base. 1. It's used to fix components such as the main magnetic pole and commutating pole. 2. It serves as a path for the motor's magnetic field. 5. The end cover is installed at both ends of the motor base and supports the rotor through bearings in the end cover, connecting the stator into a hole. At the same time, the end cover also provides protection for the internal parts of the DC motor. The class is now over. Thanks!